Travels, and today we are in
Iceland!
After a few days in Reykjavik, we head anti-clockwise around the Icelandic Ringroad.
Also known as Route 1, the road is the country's main highway that links the entire island to the capital.
First time driving in Iceland, Ben. What do you think?
It's a little bit terrifying driving on the right-hand side of the road for the very first time, but everything is kind of on the wrong side, so I feel kind of squidged into a corner and things. But yeah, I'm managing, just about. It takes a lot of concentration.
Yeah, you're doing alright.
Yeah?
I'm not scared.
Do you feel safe?
For now.
I don't.
The south coast is full of sights and landmarks to stop and see, most of which are fairly close to the road.
The first one we visited was volcanic blast crater
Jökulsárlón.
just up the road, and we find bubbling mud pools.
And the geothermally heated streams of
Reykjavik Thermal River.
That stinks of eggs.
Wherever you go, you're constantly reminded that Iceland is a volcanic hotspot.
Ben, how hot this thermal water is? Is it really hot? Oh, that's alright then. How hot is it? Oh, it stinks.
Oh, that's warmer. That's like, ow, that's like,
Is that really really hot? Not cold.
it's like food
Blimey.
that's just come out of a microwave.
Okay, Ben, now I dare you. How hot is this?
I ain't put my hand in there.
How hot is this one, Ben?
Fireside.
Obviously, with so much steam around, how could we resist a photo shoot?
Sulfur, mud, and walking boots are so on trend. With the mountains on your left and the sea on your right, you see waterfalls every mile or so.
And some are pretty damn spectacular.
Seljalandsfoss. I've got a waterproof coat in the car and I forgot to take it out, and now I'm really wet. But now we're going to try and climb up along the side of it. Ah, wet.
Seljalandsfoss is one of Iceland's most famous waterfalls because you can walk directly behind it.
You've probably seen dreamy travel photos of people standing behind a waterfall on Instagram of pretty much everyone who has ever visited Iceland. Well, this is the one they're behind.
So what do you suppose those influencers are thinking about?
They're probably contemplating the passage of time.
Okay.
It's amazing! So we've driven out into the middle of nowhere in the darkness. Jeremy, tell us why.
Because we want to see the northern lights.
So we're gonna go and sit in a car now in the dark.
For a good hour.
Wait. Apparently we're in with a good chance, according to your weird app.
Well, fingers crossed it works.
Yeah. So watch this space. But we are currently by a waterfall because Jeremy decided he didn't want to just see the northern lights, he wanted to see them over the top of a waterfall. So that's what's happening behind us.
As you can see, there are no northern lights in this shot.
Which was a running theme throughout our trip. Day 2, and we start with a close encounter with some of the Icelandic horses that you'll see literally everywhere.
And named Samantha.
She's so fancy.
And then we take the trek across a desolate and uninhabited valley to find Iceland's oldest and most secluded swimming pool, Seljalandsfoss.
Jeremy, what temperature is the water, please?
Okay. Not warm.
Are we going in?
No, I don't think so, no.
Was it worth trekking 30 minutes across the Valley of Death and going through the water rapids to get here?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look at the view.
Any idea why someone built a swimming pool here?
Because there's not enough water in Iceland?
Skogafoss.
This was probably our favourite waterfall in Iceland because of its sheer height.
You can climb the steps up to a viewing platform at the top, which is something ludicrous like 700 steps.
You loved that climb.
I hated that climb.
Next we head to a glacier.
In the rain. It was great walking to it in the rain.
You loved the rain.
I hated the rain.
Jökulsárlón.
Up close, the glacier is absolutely stunning.
But we cannot emphasize enough that you must never walk on the glacier without a professional guide.
We got closer than maybe we should, because literally 90 seconds after this photo was taken, the ice Jérémy had been standing beneath snapped off and fell to the ground.
I could have been killed, you know.
Do you remember that time you were nearly killed in Iceland?
I'm traumatized.
I've waited my whole life to touch a glacier. I'm gonna do it now, for the very first time.
How does it feel?
I'm feeling a deep spiritual connection to the ice.
Does it not feel like just touching an ice cube?
Probably big ice.
I thought so.
It's quite sexy, really.
Well, I'm glad you're having a sexy time within a glacier.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how wet are you? 1 being a light misting with some nice Evian, and 10 being it's Pride, it's Monday, we've been standing in a car park and it's bucketing it down with rain. I'm probably an 11.
Next comes Jérémy's favourite bit.
An hour's walk across a windswept plain. The wind is at constant gale force, it's raining, there's sun blowing in my face. It was very cold.
You loved that walk.
I hated that walk.
But at the end of it is...
The Seljalandsfoss plane wreck.
which was absolutely worth the walk.
But we got the bus back.
Which cost about £10 to travel 4 kilometres.
Best £10 we've ever spent.
Next, we travel to Iceland's southernmost tip, the small town of Vik.
Next to which is...
Reynisfjara, Black Sand Beach. This is the famous Black Sand Beach as featured on Game of Thrones and on Vikings. Jérémy thinks that Vikings is better than Game of Thrones. He's wrong.
Vikings is better.
We are now in the Jökulsárlón National Park, which is where we will remain for the next few days because it covers most of eastern Iceland.
There are literally waterfalls everywhere.
In Britain, any one of these would be a tourist attraction.
The best one here is definitely...
Skogafoss,
which falls over the top of sheer basalt columns.
Well, that was an easy one.
Icelandic houses traditionally had turf roofs, which helped to insulate against the cold.
Most of them are now disappeared, but if you look hard enough, you can still find clusters of them in the countryside.
Skogafoss.
Another day, another glacier.
And it's pretty spectacular.
Jökulsárlón.
A small causeway separates a glacial lake from the ocean, but as the small icebergs float out to sea, those that don't make it to open water are washed up on the black sand beach.
The sand stretches for miles, littered with stunning blue ice, which wash up for a time before washing away again. Ben thought he might be able to lift an actual iceberg.
It was surprisingly heavy.
It's solid ice. There's nothing surprising about that.
All right, smarty pants. This is our last stop in South Iceland, but I think it's safe to say it was our favourite.
By a long way.
After a night in Hoffen, we set out on the long drive north the following day.
There's plenty to stop and see en route.
There's always a waterfall. I mean, they are everywhere.
But the drive takes us inland, where the landscape is quite different.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and to follow us on Instagram.
At Through My Quirky Eyes.
And to tune in next time when we will be...
doing the second half hour Icelandic Ringroad.
the north. Until next time, folks.
See ya.